You're listening to the Reluctant Adult Podcast. If you like what you're hearing, follow us on social media and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This is the way.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million.
This week from the internet, Mondo busts our dreams of the perfect Real Ghostbusters toy line by unleashing an entity even more frightening than a ghost, the price tag. Plus, NECA and Super7 battle for Ninja Turtle supremacy, while Playmates is also here. And funding HasLab projects is half the battle for G.I. Joe fans who make quick work of the Cobra Rattler. I'm in danger. It's the Reluctant Adult Podcast.
Don't you be a dummy! Buckle your safety belt!
Think, Billy. It's morphin' time!
Welcome to another episode of the Reluctant Adult Podcast. My name is Paul, and I am joined, as always, by the man who is never going to be able to financially recover from this Comic-Con, Bill.
Hi, everyone. That's right. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
And it has not even everything's up for pre-order yet. Just some stuff. No. Just a sampling.
Just some stuff.
That's what you kept every time I would send you something new I saw. You're like, it's too much. This year it's too much. Too many new things.
I had to think about it, and I feel like with every San Diego Comic-Con, I feel the same way. Yeah. And then throughout the year, I kind of mellow out, and I'm like, no, I don't really need that. I think it's just the initial shock of seeing it all in one place, and then being like, well, do I? Do I not?
And it all gets spaced out.
There was a lot this year.
There's a lot. Yeah,
it will.
Yeah. And from some different places, too. Not, we're used to seeing, like, Hasbro and Mattel, but, like, the smaller companies suddenly not so small. Suddenly, they're making waves just like the big guys. So
and rightly so,
well,
which is great.
You love to see it, You want to see that diversity of product, of companies, everybody trying to one-up each other. It just helps everybody.
That got me thinking too.
Yeah,
real quick, because it was like I was thinking back to like your and I childhoods and being like, Kenner was big, Hasbro was big. Mm-hmm. Those were, but like nowadays, it like with my kids especially, it's like Moose Toys. That's all they talk about. Yeah. Moose Toys. Moose Toys is like our kids' Kenner at this point. Yeah, and they'll look back and they'll say, "Man, I had a lot of fun things from Moose Toys."
And eventually Hasbro will absorb Moose, and then they'll be like, was that Hasbro or Moose? I can't remember, like, what was the cutoff date? Well, there's Moose. Has Moose will travel. There's too much. There's too much to talk about this week that we're actually going to have a second episode to fit it all in. We're going to have a special guest, Greg Stone, join us, famous comedian Greg Stone, with his brand new computer that he promises will work. He will be.
Wait a minute, you told me it was Pete Davidson. Actually, wait a minute, you told me it was He-Man.
We want He-Man.
I thought we were getting He-Man.
Sorry, kids. He-Man. He's suddenly he's hot on the heels of Turtles and Street Fighter in terms of just like sludding it up with those crossovers.
Yeah.
Like, who? Yeah. Want some Thundercats? Sure. Throw that in there. Another line of Turtles of Grayskull? Yeah, keep them coming. Why not?
Wow.
I want to start out. I just want to get this out of the way because this pretty much sums up my San Diego Comic-Con experience. My dream was realized, and then my heart was broken. All right? Do you know what toy line I'm talking about?
I do, but there's a silver lining to all of this, and I hope you realize.
Well, I can't wait to hear that. So
Okay.
let's head on over to some Mondo coverage. Now, Mondo, they've made waves in the figure sector for their 12-inch X-Men. They did He-Man. These are high-end collectibles outside of what we typically collect, but very popular, especially the X-Men. And we saw, going way back to just one of their employees was just doing like some 3D renders for fun. He posted them on Instagram, and they were the best real Ghostbuster figures that we've ever seen. But they didn't exist. Nobody was making them at the time. Flash forward to a couple months back, and Mondo announced they're doing them. And we were like, great, still 12-inch. They're going to be expensive, but it'll be fun to see. But then they announced they are 1/12, 6-inch scale real Ghostbuster action figures. And I was like, dream complete. The boyhood dream has come true. We're going to get really good real Ghostbuster action figures. And they showed them off. We saw some renders in a presentation. They're doing 2-packs, a Ghostbuster, and then a ghost from the show. So either the Boogeyman, or I'll let you pronounce it, because I've always said Sanheim, but which is not correct.
It is well in RGB they do pronounce it Samhain, but in Gaelic it's Samhain.
Samhain. Okay, very good. So I'm not
correct.
I'm not just like super uncultured. They actually did pronounce it that way.
No.
So these are the first two sets, and at basically the same time they were showing the renders on the PowerPoint during the presentation, they must have put them out in the cabinet, the actual figures, or the prototypes, because people had photos of the actual prototypes, and they look beautiful. They look perfect. They added leg articulation from those original renders that we saw, so they're complete toys. I was like, I'm not super excited about having to buy like the big ghost in a 2-pack right away, but that's fine. Sign me up. And then they updated the display with the price. And how much is Mondo requesting that we fork over for these 2-packs? How much is each 2-pack?
It's a very odd number, first of all. It makes no sense.
No.
So much so that you had to look at it and say, what the heck is that?
Correct?
Is that a dollar sign? Is that just like
a
year
a
copyright?
that we graduated
no, they
high
want
school?
Minus a zero, so $202.
Yeah. So that sucks. That's too much. That's too much money. It's too much money. I can't. It doesn't make sense.
Not for a toy. Not for a toy that so many have dreamed for.
It's just
for so long.
It doesn't. I need to know the justification for this price. I need to understand. And maybe there's a good justification. There's no justification that will get me to be like, all right. But still, I would like to know why. Because now, all of a sudden, I'm kind of like, fuck you guys. Like, this may be worse than these never existing, because now they exist. And the cheapest they will ever be is $200, because they're not going to get cheaper in the aftermarket. They're going to skyrocket like those DST Ghostbusters, which are a better value now. You could probably complete that set cheaper than it would cost for these. So, man, I was just like, and everybody is on the same page that this is way too much.
Yeah.
No one's like, well, no one's even trying to justify it. It's just like, what happened?
For 1/12 scale figures... That is
nothing.
Very pricey.
What? Even Super7, those guys are $55, and we say that's too much.
Correct.
You're gonna double that? Get out of here! Get out of here! Don't give these people any ideas.
Now, I mentioned a silver lining.
You did,
and I did, and I heard through the grapevine, that the Ghostbusters themselves will be sold individually without the larger ghost
for $100.
I mean,
we don't know.
Maybe less. Who knows?
Maybe less. Maybe the ghost is taking all of the. Really, you're paying.
Well, the ghost has the most. Each ghost comes with 2 extra portraits,
right?
And is a much larger figure.
Yeah.
So maybe that is where all the cost is.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Again, sticker shock right there.
Sticker shock, beyond sticker shock, sticker repulsion. sticker pissing me off is what it is. But yeah, now I'm just sort of like, well, I'm watching from the sidelines. Like, there's no way.
Fair enough.
Because like you could buy so much more, even if I mean, you know, people are millionaires and billionaires, and it means nothing to them. But I would hope, even at that point, it's like that's a bad precedent to set that you're willing to pay. And we've said that with other toy lines. It's like, no, I'm not going to pay that much.
Sure.
Like with any
HasLab
maybe we'll get
fails,
lucky
and AliExpress will have them all.
AliExpress, my new best friend. I still got to get those Earthworm Jim figures from there. Did you order your set?
I did.
Okay, you did. Yeah.
I wasn't going to be stopped because eventually they're going to sell through.
Well, sure.
No matter how many, there's going to be a point where they're extremely cheap, and then there's going to be a point where they bump up to regular price.
Yeah.
So I went in at $30 with the base Earthworm Jim and the headset.
The extra heads. Yeah, that's pretty good.
For $32 total.
What was the premium DNA actually charging for the legitimate?
I believe it was
release?
$55
for the two, for the figure and the heads.
Just the figure.
Yeah, and then the heads were more. Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
I think they were like $20.
How does shipping work with that site? How much do you pay?
Usually it's free.
It's free?
I paid nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really got to look into this. Yeah. Because, I don't like, on the one hand, I don't like supporting these, like, it fell off the truck kind of dealings. Sure. But if the stories we've heard are true and the premium DNA stiffed the factory, like, kind of get, you reap what you sow.
They never fell off any truck. They just never made it to the truck.
They never made it to the truck. Yeah, they didn't pay their bill. Allegedly. We don't actually know. But that does sort of check out. And we haven't seen... Premium DNA did not come out and make any sort of statement about this.
No,
correct?
They just showed us a photo of boxes of Earthworm Jim products saying,
like
no, they're on the way.
Some. Or they don't even have them like in hand yet. They're just saying they exist.
I don't believe so.
Oh,
they exist, yeah.
These
exist.
Not getting fulfilled.
No.
They're not. If you pre-ordered from Premium DNA or Big Bad or wherever, you might want to just go get them from AliExpress if you really want them. Like, at this point,
they're not bootlegs. They're legitimate figures. So
as far as we know, there's no reason to think otherwise. I'm gonna give it a go. Yeah.
What was it? Professor Monkeyhead hasn't really kind of seen the light of day yet, but I'm gonna wait on that one. And Psychro. And
there's two villains available right now, right? There's like the really large character. Which one is that?
I believe he's got a number 5, and then there's a goldfish with him. I'm not too familiar with the Earthworm Jim stuff.
Is the Crow guy out yet?
It's like Psychro.
Like when Playmates made them back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look into it. I was sort of like waiting, but if you're gonna do it,
roll the dice, my friend.
I can't be the only one not doing it.
No, you can't. Get on. Get on there.
Back to Comic-Con. Let's finish up with Mondo. Yeah. We also saw that they're doing Real Monsters, which just continues the line of we talk about it and then something happens, because we did talk about Real Monsters the other week.
We did.
Now we're seeing them, and they look fine.
They
these are $200. Get out of here with
Mondo,
that.
what are you doing to us?
Mondo, you nuts. I also saw that Mondo is going to be doing 112, which is 6-inch or 7-inch, depending on the size of the character. He-Man 2000X.
Oh yeah.
So that's interesting. Now those original Mattel figures were good, right? Like they were accurate.
They were accurate too. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't like. Is there really like a clamoring for more?
I think with more articulation. I think they were more of a pre-posed static figure as opposed to just
they had
highly
shoulders.
Articulated.
Yeah, they weren't. They were definitely not highly articulated, but I
don't think they had elbows. Did they have an elbow?
I don't think they had elbows. I don't think they had elbows.
Yeah.
No. It was just basic, like 5 points, 6 points.
Right.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with all this. Mondo.
I mean, again, I'm not like you said. No one. I didn't think anyone was clamoring for those because that series holds up.
Maybe it's just because their 12-inch He-Man has done so well. They think that the market will carry over because they've done some crazy stuff. They did like vehicles. They did Battle Cat, like real expensive stuff. So maybe they think, well, we've already got our hand in the pocket of this group. Let's see what else they'll shell out money for. So, Mondo, I don't know about you guys, Mondo. I don't know. Still waiting on those samples. If you want to make it up to us, send us some Ghostbusters. We'll call it even. Favorite company. All right, but let's move on. Now, there's so much Turtles stuff to talk about.
Yes.
This was pretty much the Turtles Comic-Con because almost every toy company that was presenting, that was exhibiting, has some sort of turtle tie-in in some way. So I'm actually going to start with NECA, because I feel like NECA needs to get the credit for really bringing Turtles into the modern day. Because Playmates, they've been there the whole time, but those toys have never really been
held
elevated.
on to it. They anchored it for quite some time, but again, they just kind of like in the early 2000s. I mean, well, we shouldn't say that because they've carried every mainline figure from the inception.
Yeah.
For those animated
they've been
shows.
there. They've just sort of like, they had their strategy. What works for them, they just kept doing it. Basic articulation. These are kids' toys. These are geared towards kids. NECA went a different way. They started doing stuff for the adult collectors. And that's why I think we see what we see today in terms of just the like oversaturation of Turtles. But
I think
people are buying
calling it. It literally is like Star Wars of the 90s and early 2000s.
Right.
It's Turtles. Yeah. Turtles of the 2020s.
Turtles
they own the decade. They own the decade, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%. So this is probably the most shocking reveal from Comic-Con and related to Turtles. NECA is going to make the 2012 Nickelodeon Turtles.
Fantastic.
I love it. It almost makes me mad that Super7's doing 2003, because I feel like I would have preferred NECA to do them, because they would have been cheaper. We probably would have got them faster. You'd see them in stores.
We would.
It is what it is, though. It is what it is. No, but the 2003 Turtles, those were line drawings. They weren't detailed. Like, there was no like texture to them. Yeah. So I feel like NECA is better at giving like texture to their toys. So maybe it's better that this is the way it's unfolding. And also, NECA has already talked about doing more, including villains of various sizes. And we know that's one area where the Playmates figures really suffered, because they were all the same exact 4 inches.
They're all the same
Whether
scale.
the figure was like 3 or 4 times the size of a turtle didn't matter. The figure was going to be the same height.
Yes, and that's always a bone of contention, because it's like literally you want your toys to be the toys from
in
the
scale.
Show. Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole point of these monsters. They're huge. But Playmates, they weren't doing deluxe figures. They all had to fit on the same SKU. So NECA, that seems like what they're going to do. They're going to make everything in scale.
Perfect.
So the first figure we saw control art for is Michelangelo. Now, Pixel Dan did get a word with Randy, and he confirmed that all 4 turtles have been sculpted. So we could start seeing those pretty quickly.
Hopefully by the end of this decade, Pixel Dan still has a house.
What? Oh, because he's spending all this money on toys.
Loves his turtles, yes.
They got to be sending him samples. NECA's got to send him samples, right? I'm not worried about him spending his own money on these toys. if nothing else, he's getting free toys. Like, come on, he deserves that at the very least.
Sure.
So I don't know what the scale is on these. NECA doesn't have like its own necessarily like the same scale.
No.
Like Super7, you would say like all of the Ultimates are the same scale, but NECA, you got Puppet Master, they're super tiny, dinosaurs that are like 6-inch scale, but then that's not really in scale with that world.
Right. Yeah, they're all they go right to it, and true to like everyone is a unique to its own thing, I would say.
Right. So we'll see. What would be your preference for this? Would you want them in scale with like the movie Turtles, so like 6-inch scale?
I feel like the movie Turtles is safe. I'd almost want to see them in like a 7 or 8-inch scale.
You
like
want them larger?
Yeah,
really?
just a little bit. I feel
then
like
then you start doing the villains that are larger. Then those
fair
have to be
enough.
larger.
No, that makes
that's why I
sense,
feel
yeah.
like they're not going to be super. Also, they're turtles. They got to be kind of small, not Puppet Master small, like somewhere in there.
Just the designs for those turtles. They seemed rather kind of like lanky and like slumpy.
True.
As it
True.
were.
Yep.
So I'm just having a hard time like conceptualizing them in my head relative to other like turtle media.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, by the end of next year, we're going to have a lot of different premium turtles to put next to each other and see how those worlds fit together. It's going to be crazy. So that's fun. Let's see.
It is fun.
For Super 7 turtles, we saw physical prototypes of the 2003 turtles.
We did.
And being honest, those first photos that popped up on my feed, I wasn't loving it. I don't know what it was. They're a little shiny. They definitely didn't do themselves any favor because the weapons are like glued in their hands and there's like globs of glue on them. Like
These are the ones that they showed at their presentation, you mean, at their booth?
It was in the booth preview night. We started seeing them and it just didn't.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I wasn't too excited about them either. I feel like you said, there's something.
There's just something not quite. And these are prototypes.
Of course.
And I will say, Pixel Dan did a walkthrough video. And in the video, I think they look better when like the camera is sort of shifting and you see them from all angles.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that photo, whether it was like the flash reflecting off of them, making the plastic look cheap, they didn't look great. I still want them. I still think they're going to be fine. The fact that they were standing up by themselves and it didn't seem like they had any sort of like museum wax, that's good because they are definitely going to be top heavy between that shell and just like the mass of their body. And the guy that Pixel Dan was talking to, I'm not sure who it is from Super 7, but this seemed to be like his era of turtles. Like he was very excited about that, which is great. You want someone who's a fan of the product, make it. And he was even talking about how the key art for the turtle that they would use like on promotional materials, those are much more like angular and long, and they didn't match like the cartoon art perfectly, which I always thought was weird. Like I don't know why they redrew them and made it like slightly wrong. That was always really annoying. So it's nice that they're able to identify that these are supposed to be from the cartoon. Great. They also teased Series 2 with silhouettes very easily to identify. Shredder, Splinter, Foot Soldier, and Casey. Perfect. Great. All heavy hitters.
Yes.
And
Good
then,
Series 2.
I don't know who you do for Series 3 besides April. I hope you get April. Maybe other turtles at that point. People were commenting that, does this mean that the Playmates figures are done? You know, the Playmates inspired figures? Because this is back-to-back series of 2003 turtles.
This is billed as series, what is it? Is it series 10 or series 9? So it's a continuation of, but I also heard that they're going to be going back and forth, that they're not going to just dip into this well of 2000 era turtles, that they will go back and do more Playmates turtles. They're just kind of filling the pool up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that the series number on the art for the second series of 2003 sequentially comes right after series 1. So it's like if you have slots available for turtles, 2 of them back to back are going to be the 2003 turtles.
Yeah.
So that's why people were like, are you done? Are you doing something else? I don't know. You're definitely not doing the 2012
Answer my
now.
question. I'm a journalist.
You see my badge?
Yeah.
I went to journalism school. Not really, but who needs that anymore?
Right.
So that's Super 7. That's NECA. Who else has turtles?
Did we see anything
Anybody
from
else?
Best Action at all?
If we did, I just like mentally skipped over it. I just
kind of
can't.
they took the broom and they just kind of put it underneath one of the tables. They just like swept it under. Like,
I mean, they're doing those comic turtles.
Right. Playmates
no
had
one
some
else is
teases
doing.
tonight, last minute. Did you see those?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Playmates had a PowerPoint and they showed off prototypes for remastered Series 2, which includes Shredder and Rocksteady. It was like one of them.
Okay.
I think it was Rocksteady, yeah. And so the Shredder looks nothing like the original Shredder figure. Like, it's not. If the theme was updating these toys to give them modern articulation, and that's it, that theme has gone out the window because it looks nothing like the original Shredder.
So I haven't seen that, but I mean, I think that's a benefit to that figure, because that figure isn't the greatest Shredder.
But they did that like weird. Remember, they did like a Shredder, like a super articulated. Well, for them, super articulated Shredder. That like just fit in weird, like, but it's just like an original design. Then, like, what is this line? It's remastered.
I saw them last night at Walmart while I was out shopping, and I looked at them and I said, on the display, I said, I'm gonna wait. I did pick up the young Splinter from the Mayhem line just because.
Oh, with the flocked
he's got
afro?
Flocked hair. Yeah, that's great.
I like that. I saw that too.
Terrific.
That's fun. Yeah. So are they continuing to do like like mix and match from the new cartoon figures? They're still doing more figures from the movie?
I mean, I feel like the ones that were from the movie were announced and maybe were far enough that they were just slotting them in because...
And they're just shipping together, like Ray Fillet is in there.
Right, Ray Fillet's in there. They've got like the updated Turtle Tots and a couple others. Like, I don't think
they're
it's
updated?
a huge... Well, not updated, but... additional
like the
turtle
villains?
tots. Yeah, the villain tots and
the villain. Were they doing like blind bag tots?
And they did blind bags, yes. So
what is that?
It's the same thing.
It's the same figures, but they have like ooze on them.
They've got ooze on them, yeah.
I guess that's fun.
So I thought that was the direction they were going. So I actually grabbed, because they're very easy to blind bags for these turtles is ridiculous. They need to put like a cardboard box in them or something, because you feel around, you feel a horn for Rocksteady, you feel a snout, you can feel the wings. You're like, I know which turtle is which. I get this. So before I realized that they were just repacking like Bebop and Rocksteady, which I also got them carded, I had picked up 2 blind bag ones for my kid.
I thought there was like a end to that sentence. It's like before I did this, I did that. That was it. Okay, that was fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So finishing up with Turtles as much as we can.
Oh, we'll finish up real quick. You got those, but did you also see on their PowerPoint a re-release of the Turtle Air?
Well, it's like Hasbro's pipeline. Like they're not like this is definitely happening. This is like stuff we want to do, and I guess
it's gonna happen.
Is it going to be smaller? Like the tech? Like I guess
I don't
it
know.
will be.
I saw. I mean, have you seen the pizza thrower in stores yet?
I think I did. I saw people finding it.
I'm not excited for the price. I did see it, but I was like $40. I mean, it's nice. Oh. The box art is nice, but
it doesn't come with a figure.
It does not come with a figure.
No,
not like the toilet tank or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
with the weird Donatello
hat.
But they have the drill. That was exciting.
Yes, that was also.
I never
like
got
one
that
of those,
as a kid.
Like, we might do it.
I would love for them to do it.
So this stuff is supposed to go with like the re-released, like classic stuff.
Yes.
So that's like one collection, but the figures are as accurate to those original ones as possible, even the carding. But then all the vehicles are tiny. Like it's it's just bizarre. I don't know. I don't like it. It makes me feel weird. Don't like it one bit. But it'll sell because it's Turtles and people love nostalgia, especially if you didn't have it as a kid and you can get it now. You want to sample it, but it's fine. I was trying to think. The PowerPoint was not exciting in the least. Like there's like a mix and match van coming out with minifigures or something. Like nothing from that show looks exciting to me. Like this is very kid focused. Like
what else are they?
Mix and match is what they're doing.
The Shellraiser again? Did you see that?
Yes, from the 2012 line.
Yes.
Yeah, they showed the figures too, but the belts look like weird, or the something with the colors. Either the weapons or the belts looks weird.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't need that.
I've got that just tossing around because I found it at the Boy Scout yard sale one year for $1.
I don't even remember the car from that version of the Turtles. Like I watched it, but like the car was not like important enough in the cartoon to be like, I need that. It's not like the party wagon. Going back to NECA, it's funny, they showed off Tatsu, and I don't know if like they had hoped that Walmart wouldn't put that figure out and this was going to be the debut or not, or they were just like, whatever, just put him out there now.
Oh.
But they also had, and I don't know if this is up for pre-order now on the NECA shop, but Shredder's Throne. You can finally get that surfboard-looking thing.
Right.
If you want it. People were like, when you put Shredder on it, his feet dangle like a toddler on the potty.
Oh.
Like, they don't even touch the ground. But, like, there's no shots of this in the movie. It's just from that one playing card or, you know, collector card. So we don't really know, like, if his feet touch the ground or not.
Is this made
they
to
put like a
order,
little box
or
down there?
Is it going to be one of those things like the Predator Throne that they bring out every few years and say, "Hey, remember the Predator Throne?"
I don't know. But it's like $90, so I don't know how many they're gonna sell. It's too much.
That's too
very
much.
Niche. It's very niche. Who needs this?
It's starting to get that way. It really is.
Yeah. At least now they have this whole new world to draw from, because they were really running dry. I mean, they're doing like the Archie stuff and they're doing the comic stuff, but that I don't know who that appeals to. It's not me.
It's not me either.
Yeah. So maybe there are younger fans, maybe. I don't know who the Archie fans are. I never read the Archie comics, but
never even realized there were Turtle comics until last year that were
I never really even think about like comic unless they came with gum. And I was like, oh, I know. Someone needs to do Bazooka Joe toys.
Yeah.
Come on, Jada Toys. You're doing Tony the Tiger.
With Cracker Barrel, I would get the X-Men comic book that came.
Oh, really?
Cracker Jacks or whatever it was.
Oh, Cracker Jacks. The Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
They're giving out
not
comics.
Cracker Barrel. No.
I would get comics and I would like maybe look at them, but I would never like read them. Like, I don't know. I didn't like how comics were like when we were growing up. A comic panel was not very detailed.
Right.
It just, the artwork other than the cover, I never felt was like super great. So I was sort of like, I don't know. This is not exciting to me. That's a whole other conversation. So was there anything else with Turtles before we
that was
take
about
a break?
It for Turtles.
No, that was enough. Well, we did. As you take a sip from your baby, you put liquid in there. Oh,
I put water in it.
Well, still, that's some plastic taste. We didn't talk about Mattel's Turtles of Grayskull, how they're just keeping it going. They're just like, let's just do more. Doesn't need to make any sense. This is like how NECA did the Monster Turtles, and we expected it to be like one complete set where everyone was one character, and then they kept making like they were doubling up on the turtles. Like there's 2 Raphs and 2 Leos. So now there's gonna be like 2 of every turtle, and we finally got like a Super Shredder where he's a snake. I think that's the theme for the next year is like snakes.
It's
reptiles,
always snakes.
It always comes back to snakes with He-Man. Yeah, that is weird. All right, that's good enough for now. We're gonna take a quick break, regroup, come back. We're gonna talk more Comic-Con. So we talked about NECA for Turtles, but they had a lot of stuff and some really cool stuff. Probably, other than those Ghostbusters, the most exciting thing to me that was shown at Comic-Con so far. NECA is doing Ultimate Sesame Street. Now, we knew that NECA had the Sesame Street license because they showed off those Toonie Not Terror figures of Bert and Ernie.
Right.
And we were like, no. But now they're doing Ultimate figures that look like the actual puppets or the posers because they have a lower body. They're not just like from the torso up.
How come they always start with Bert and Ernie? How come with every line I feel like
they're
Bert
iconic?
And Ernie are,
who else would you start with?
They're iconic.
And they're like old school. Know. It's not Elmo. Like you could start with Elmo.
I know it's not Elmo.
I mean, Elmo's been around for like 50 years at this point.
I
we
feel
still
like
consider
I would
him
start
new.
with Big Bird. I don't know why you don't start with Big Bird.
He's too big.
He was the main guy in the 80s, I felt like.
He's too big. You got to start with normal figures. You got the Count, and you got Bert and Ernie. Who else do you want?
Cookie Monster. I don't know.
Cookie Monster would be good. Grover. But the monsters, I think
they all monsters?
No. Bert and Ernie are Muppets. They're not monsters. They're like humans. And the Count is a vampire.
Okay.
It's totally different.
I know.
No, but think about it. The monsters, they're not wearing clothing. They're all fur. So that's probably a challenge to sculpt. So you start off with some
Right.
clothed figures. You got Bert and Ernie, and you got the Count wearing his Dracula getup. I think that's perfect. And now I wasn't sure how big these were. I wasn't sure if these were going to be like 6 or 7 inch. Mad Hatter Reviews brought his Palisades Muppets to the display, and he's saying that they are in scale with those Palisades Muppets, which were probably like, I don't want to say like 5, like Kermit would be like 5 inches tall.
Yeah.
So
they were smaller. They were right?
smaller. So I feel like Bert and Ernie are slightly larger. I'm like thinking back to like the Muppet Christmas.
Oh, you said Palisades. I thought you said.
Yeah, not Diamond Select. Diamond Select
I thought
are
you said
like
Diamond Select.
Diamond Select are like 112. So it's like if your human character is 6 inches, the Muppet would fit on his hand. Like those are real tiny.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, these are going back to Palisades because Palisades were gonna do Muppets. Like that was next. They did Grover. They did Super Grover. That came out. And Bert and Ernie were next, and those prototypes exist. I think Michael Crawford has a couple of them. So these look amazing. Alternate head sculpts, which is so fantastic. You need that. So I'm 100% on board. I hope they do Big Bird. I hope they do everybody. I love it. I want them to do Muppets next. I know DST still has the license, but I think this is the way we got to go. I would rebuy NECA Muppets. I love my Palisades figures. I don't think they'll ever be topped, but it's been a long time. I'm ready for some more Muppets.
Hopefully you aren't disappointed like you were with the dinosaurs.
Oh, you got to bring those up. I will. To be fair, I did finally see Earl in stores, and he's not as small. Baby is way too small. I think they could have upsized Baby the way they make Bart larger when they have the Simpson toys. Like, he did not need to be 1-to-1 to Earl. You make him a little bigger. Get a little bit more value. But he's just too small. Earl, I feel like, while it would have been fine to make him larger, he fills that box, and he's like a 6 or 7 inch figure. So I will say I think he's okay. I still didn't buy him. Because I don't know. Maybe someday, but not yet. But I definitely need these Sesame Street figures in my life, because we've been waiting since the end of the Palisades line. NECA also showed off more of those Ben Cooper costume kids, and now they're doing some like IPs. You got Alien, Gremlins, Beetlejuice. Yeah. Those are fun. Right.
Those do look fun.
You were saying that you regret not picking up that first set now.
I feel like it was such a narrow window to buy that set.
Is it not still available like on Big Bad?
I don't know if it was. It had to have been, because I've heard rumor that it was only available on their store directly, like NECA store.
No, we saw it on
I feel like I saw
them
on Entertainment Earth and Big Bad.
Yeah, because Big
they're
Bad,
gone now.
Well, Big Bad has them pre-sold out, so I don't know if they ever came in stock.
Oh.
But I bet NECA will re-release these. I bet.
They should.
You get them at AliExpress.
They're not coming to Target.
You get them at AliExpress right now. $83 the whole set.
Really?
While you're there. While you're picking up your
set?
I mean, that's what I'm looking at. $77.95.
For the whole set?
I mean, maybe not. No.
Or is it's individually?
Is it per? Do they do that where it's like really high prices? I don't know what I'm looking at here. I don't know.
Usually
it's like,
with AliExpress, there's like a little circle to indicate each character.
Yeah, I'm clicking through and it's like white, black, green. I'm like, come on, you don't even know the characters' names. Like, one of them $512. Like, what is this?
Oh,
keep an eye out, I guess. But
it's okay. I mean, I've got the there's a couple more coming out from that line. I think the only ones I was really upset about missing were the Creature from the Black Lagoon one. But they're coming out with 3 more, the generic monsters, and then these licensed ones.
Yeah, the
they
licensed
do look
ones.
sweet. The Gremlin looks like a lot of fun. And the
Gizmo
so just looks trippy. They are silly.
Yeah. I think I will have to start with this IP set, because like the Alien is great. It's just such a fun for
goofy
Halloween
trick or treat. Yeah, you set up like a little trick or treat door with like kids running around on your mantle.
Sure. Oh, it'll be so fun.
It's an excuse to get a mantle.
Make your Halloween mood table.
Make my little scenes.
I love it. Well, while we're talking about Gremlins for a second, let's take a detour to Trick or Treat Studios. they've been promising us that they were going to make these. I don't know if they're puppets or they're just little versions of the Mogwai, but the Mogwai from Gremlins 2, the new batch, they were going to do all of them, and they finally have them up for pre-order, and they're $100 each, which sounds like a lot, but they're like 1-to-1, so they're not small.
They are.
I don't know if they're puppets or they have wire in them. I have no idea. The trick with this company is that you kind of have to wait until you see the final product to make sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Having history with this company, that is a 100% accurate statement, because the final product often has to be modified, because what they do show you on their site is stylized, beautiful shots, colored correctly, tricked out, and it's not the final. It's not
off the shelf. They've done some cosmetic work to it.
Correct.
So just on like the base model, looking at them, I think that Gizmo is bad. I don't know.
Okay.
It's something about the eyes. NECA had trouble with the eyes on their first one.
They look a little off.
I don't know what it is. The pupils are too big. Something is wrong. I don't like Gizmo, which is fine. There's enough Gizmos. Daffy is the real winner here. Daffy is like the eyes spinning one, the crazy one that looks the most like Gizmo, that like even shows up in their apartment. I think this one looks beautiful. Now the eyes aren't like crazy enough, and I don't know if they spin, but just like the proportions, and they did really good photography of him like in like candy trash, like you would see him. Like this one looks fantastic, and the other ones look pretty good. Mohawk looks good. The shape of the head is a little weird. I don't know why like one looks so much better to me than the other ones don't look as good. Yeah, I don't know, but again, you can pre-order them now. Like you can pre-order them from Entertainment Earth and not have to worry about paying until they ship. And by then, we should see some in-hand photos. So that's probably the way to go. $120 each. So, you get them all. It's pretty expensive. But if it's a high-end prop replica, basically, then that's how it's being billed, as a prop replica. That's pretty reasonable, I would say. $100.
That's fun.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So check those out if you're interested. Let's see. Heading back to NECA, did they have anything else? Okay, here's some controversy with NECA. So they did this loot crate but it was called Fright Crate or Scare Crate or something. And
something along those lines.
The deal with this one was you were going to get the Universal Monster figures one a month, but they were the Burger King inspired when they did the kids meal.
Right.
So people signed up for that or didn't, and then they paid extra money after the fact to get them, because people we knew about it, but people were saying it was not well advertised. But if you listen to this show, we did a whole thing on them, so you had to know.
We did. Yes.
So what's happening now is NECA is going to release a 5-pack of all of the figures from that set. And you don't have to sign up for Loot Crate. You just buy the figures. And people who paid to be in Loot Crate are very mad about this.
Of course. And you get a nice red coffin for
was that Dracula. Not originally included?
No.
Oh.
No.
So it's if you have the one, you really got to get this one too, because there's extra stuff.
Yes.
That sucks. But at the same time, you kind of have to know NECA's deal with Loot Crate. Because it's not... The Loot Crate is not the same company as NECA. NECA just solicits. So it's you can't blame NECA for what Loot Crate does. They're two totally different companies. Or so they would like you to believe. Mm-hmm. But, that sucks if you paid money and then you could have got them for cheaper. But you already have them. At least you got them now. You don't have to wait. So that's nice.
Yeah. But I think I'm good with most of my Burger King ones, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't need all 5 at once.
I'm fine with that. I think I only have one of the Universal Monsters from NECA, and it's glow in the dark Frank, which is a fine figure. I mean, they've done some really nice stuff, the accessories they put out, the little that what was that the monster? What was that I don't know if it's out yet. The Monster Raider,
the Monster
or something?
Maker.
What is that? Maker. What does it do?
It was an old Remco. It was just kind of like a Remco who did the original. Universal Monsters in the 3 3/4 scale. Just had it was just a playset, That was it.
Yeah, but what was it
make
supposed
a monster.
to represent?
It was just lights. It was supposed to represent Frankenstein's monsters, like, creation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fine. Did that come out? Do you know? Because NECA was promoting it. I don't know if that actually ended up getting.
I haven't seen it yet.
No.
But yeah, they did a lot of fun accessories for all the Universal monsters, like box sets.
Yeah.
Like, stuff they couldn't pack in.
Coffin, sarcophagus.
Right, sarcophagus. Yeah.
Really fun stuff. You can populate that world. Let's jump over to McFarlane, because this has to be exciting for you. They are making that Batman Forever Batmobile complete with lights.
Yes.
It looks nice.
I sent you a video of it. It is an amazing. It's huge. It's gigantic.
And
the fin on the back is like.
Yeah. And it comes with Alfred. Everything you could possibly want. Yeah.
Yes.
You gonna get that? You're definitely gonna get that, right?
I have to get that.
You know what they have to do now? They have to make that open world playset that Hasbro Kenner made with the platforms.
Oh yeah, that 3 foot long.
Yeah.
Beast.
NECA's got to do it. They have to do it now. Come on.
You have to.
The slide where they showed Alfred, there were 3 other Batmans there. Is that just another set of all just Batman?
I think so.
Are those different costumes at least?
I'm not too sure.
It's weird.
I'm not sure.
It
was not a little. Yeah. Only seeing the slides and not seeing the context or audio from it or the presentation.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No. I'm sure we'll get more on that later.
Yeah.
Was there anything else new from McFarlane? He was like showing off the wired capes on the new figures. He was excited about that, which is actually great.
It was just a lot of
really good.
A lot of extra, like a lot of the same, a lot of more of the same.
Yeah, more of the
like
same.
Physical port. Everything's coming out next week. You're not going to see it because it's all pre-ordered.
It's all exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like another Spawn figure that I just don't know.
Spawn.
I'm sorry.
Spawn.
Mattel had a ton of WWE releases, previews, lots of like first time in the line characters like Ethan Page, who just jumped over from AEW. His AEW figure is just coming out now, and they're already promoted. They already had a prototype or 3D render of his figure, which I didn't actually think it looked a lot like him, but we'll see what like the colored version looks like. But always have a ton of stuff. They're really like they've done so many figures at this point for wrestling that they're just kind of running out of like super high profile stuff. Like they're getting real deep cuts and like versions of characters, like wrestlers like wearing outfits that are more obscure, which on the one hand is exciting to like the 2% of people that really wanted that, but then like the general population is like, what? I don't need like another Razor Ramon. Well, you're getting it, kid, so enjoy.
I walked into Walmart the other day, and all their AEW stuff was marked down.
Yeah, well, they're trying to clear out the stuff that never sold. It's been there for like years at this point.
But even those guys that you were very excited for with like the chandelier,
yeah. Well,
those were marked down to like $12.
Yeah, those are Walmart exclusives, and that's what they do.
They are.
They have to keep putting out the new ones, so they got to get rid of the old stock. The AEW figures don't like sell super well. They keep putting them out. They're like,
you love them. You love them from an engineering standpoint.
Exactly. The figures themselves are great. I wish that they were able to make like the WWE characters. Those would be the ultimate wrestling figures. If there's ever a time when they can like work together or Mattel outsources, I want a Shawn Michaels made as an AEW action figure. That would be a Shawn Michaels and a Bret Hart that look like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Because AEW, sometimes their figures look just like them, just like the characters they represent, and sometimes they're terrible. It's very hit or miss. There's like 2 guys that sculpt, and one does a really good job, and one does not do a very good job at all. Like the CM Punk figures. This is a perfect example. CM Punk came back to wrestling. He went to AEW. He got a few figures. He got this Ultimate figure. Came with like 3 portraits. They all look exactly like the man. Now he goes to WWE. He's getting an Ultimate figure. This was Supreme. Now Mattel's doing Ultimate. It looks fine, but I already have like the definitive version of CM Punk. Like nothing Mattel can do is going to top that. and their sculpts are not quite as good. So it's one of those weird things. I don't know. Let's take a detour from Comic-Con talk because I want to talk about The Simpsons. Now, with this Target reset, one of the big new items added to the toy aisle was Jakks Pacific's Simpsons. Have you seen these in stores yet?
I just saw them.
You did. You see them.
I'm very excited. I needed some retail therapy last night, and I went out. And I had just seen the phone, Moe's Tavern's phone.
Yes.
And you and I had just been kind of like, we've been monitoring this line for a while since its announcement to kind of see, because you and I were both World of Springfield guys. We really enjoyed that line.
Right.
You love the Super 7 Ultimates, and we just kind of wanted to see where this would fit in, because Jakks Pacific did a great job with the Mario movie.
That's true. Yep.
And, they produce those. They do a great job with just like the little animated movie, video game based stuff.
Simple designs. They're very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what these looked like. So you had seen them first. You saw the stuffed characters.
That's right, about those stuffed figures
that looked like Burger King. Then you started. You had the socialization portion of your life where you met another fan and
ran into a fellow collector. Sure.
You gave him the secondary characters from the
Otto
wave.
and Willie. Yep.
And then you found them and you started showing me them, and you said that the small figures are the clear winners. So
okay. So
I can agree, but I can also disagree because I'm having a lot of fun with these. And
you got them?
And I picked up. I did find them.
Oh, good.
I was a little choosy. They didn't have Otto and they didn't have Groundskeeper Willie, so I picked up Bart and Homer.
Sure.
And I picked up the family set.
Yes.
The mini set. So where do we want to start with first?
Here is 5-inch Homer. Super articulated Homer.
And here's my 5-inch Homer.
There you go.
Super articulated Homer.
Look at that. Holding
with a proton bag.
With a proton bag. Able to hold the wands. Busting ghosts.
Yes.
Ready for Comic-Con.
So,
damn.
A lot of fun.
That is great. That's something that you couldn't do with the Playmates figure.
You could not do that.
Couldn't get his arms. So the arms are funny. I think this was the right choice because they had to do something different. Because, like we said, Playmates, World of Springfield, they did everything. They did every character.
Yeah.
But they were practically static figures. Like, the whole thing with that was the sound chip. Like, that was the play feature.
Right.
So I feel like we've never had super articulated Simpson figures. I mean, you can say Super 7, but they're kind of like an outlier. Like, normal people who just go to Target have no idea those even exist.
We haven't had a plain Homer Simpson as articulated as this since ever.
They've never done elbow articulation. That's crazy.
No.
So the articulation does, it's depending on how you pose them. Let me find my mouse. Depending on how you pose them, if you see too much of it, it does look kind of like he's a robot, or in a suit of armor. Like, it looks a little weird. The character is like Groundskeeper Willie, who has a sleeve that goes to here, and that's where the break is. Looks much better.
Yeah.
So you just gotta kind of pose them, but it's so fun to be able to have them run. Like, look at that. That's some nice range.
That's great. Chase after Bart.
I will say,
there's the packaging.
Packaging is very clean. Very clean.
Yes. Very white. Not a lot shown, but again.
Well, it's so
that
they
Simpsons white. That's the thing.
Yeah. They have the
actually
the other
characters
portraits
are in there.
But it's like almost transparent. It's like you really have to look at it to even see it.
I didn't even notice that every single character was inhabiting this box.
That's the same design that Super 7 used for the inside. But there was on red, I think, so it's much easier to see. A couple of things with this Homer. I don't know if the head is like a weird shape, like it almost goes out as it goes up, or if it's too small. I think from the side it looks better. There's just something not quite right. And they showed off those new deluxe figures, and there's a Homer turning into the Hulk where he spills green paint on him. That head is much more expressive, and I think it's larger, which would support my theory that this head is slightly too small. Still, great figure. So let's compare him to super tiny Homer. Look at that.
Oh, so I didn't open my family set.
These are fun.
I bought Flanders.
Oh, you got the individual little ones.
So no, I did buy the family set.
Right.
I was there. I was like, And they have some of the family available now. I think you can get Homer, Bart, and Lisa. And Bart, they do. Some of them do come with accessories.
Yeah,
this
Bart
set
comes with a skateboard.
Does not. But I will say this right now: this is the better value than those.
Such a good value
ones.
Because you get the 4 family members, and you get 5 because Maggie.
5, and then, yes, and you get the pets.
You get the pets, yeah.
Right.
Great deal for $20. Are you kidding me?
That's
and like deal
the plain
of the century.
the plain Homer does not come with an accessory. So if you can,
the individual,
if you can deal without getting
one.
her saxophone and his skateboard, which you can find one of those anywhere.
Well, sure. Or you could just buy those too, because you're going to have 2 Homers if you buy the living room set. So why not have multiple versions? So here's mini Homer. They have
Here's mini Flanders.
Ball elbows, which is great. It's not just cut. They all have that except Maggie. They can sit, so you can sit them on the couch. You can't even tell that there's a joint there. That's how well designed that is. That's beautiful.
Fantastic.
Moving head, yeah. The one thing I want to go back.
Little dollhouse figures, and if we do talk about mini brands, they have mini brands home now, and they're perfectly in scale to sit on like this tiny stool.
Wow, there you go.
With some coaxing, but yeah,
they like. There you go. You can't get it at a perfect 90-degree angle, so it's like kind of like.
But depending on how he's sitting.
Yeah, but still very good. I want to go back for 1 second. The one thing I would have taken from what Super 7 was doing and implemented it here. The waist needs to be a ball joint so that you can like have him bend, and the head also should be a ball joint. The cut, I mean, it's fine, but if you could have made it a ball joint, chef's kiss would have been the best. But still very good. This is going to be such a fun line to collect because they're $13, like comparatively super cheap compared to like what else is out there. And then the little figures, if they keep doing a 5-pack for $20, or like a set for $20 each time, that's the way I'm gonna go. They look great. Yeah. They're so fun. I was having Bart. I didn't see
Chief Wiggum. Bart. Chief Wiggum is also available.
Look, it's like a little Bart doll. It's great.
You got wow, yeah.
Look at it. It's so fun. Oh, this is fun too.
Like the little mini home.
If you do have the Super 7 figures, and you have king size Homer, you can put his head right on there, and look at that. It's like from the short stories where they were in the parade and they took their heads off. Look at that. That's beautiful. So, big fan of the Jakks Pacific Simpsons. They're knocking it out of the park. They're doing those deluxe figures, which I'm not immediately excited about. You know what's weird about the deluxe figures? And I don't know if this is just because I've been looking at this Radioactive Man that Super 7 made.
Right.
He's so jacked, that Jakks Pacific figure.
Okay.
He's like real. He's like a real cartoon superhero. Is that what it looks like on the cover of the comic? Is that what the character looks like?
I think so. Yeah. No, he's fairly ripped on the cover of the comic.
Here's one of the comics that came with the Super 7 figure. But I was like, that looks weird.
And they all have like a little gimmick.
I have bias now.
What is
it?
Like
light up or
Vampire Burns can light up.
Yeah.
Or has like a phosphorescent paint on him that kind of gives him like a shadow.
I don't know. I'll have to see him. Like immediately I'm like bad. Like action features are bad. Like just remembering from a kid, like action features always ruin the figure. But maybe, again, you're trying to sell this to a general public. Little added value there. Maybe not a bad thing. But as long as the main line keeps being just pretty generic versions of the characters.
We'll see,
I'd love to see an alternate head. Give me a Homer again, but with a more expressive expression, because this is very just like dum da dum da dum.
It's very basic. One of the things, and you pointed it out, and I did see it, and I had to be a little choosy with the ones I picked, is the pupils tend to be painted funny. And
I saw
it
Bart.
It works on some characters, but you saw an extreme Bart.
Oh, this one's fine, but there was one where he was real. It was like that Mogwai we were talking about earlier.
Like my Homer there is a little off center.
Oh, is it a little off? That's
just
annoying.
A tad, but it's okay. It's not like it just gives him a little bit of more expression than just being a generic.
Yeah, this one's
generic
perfect.
Homer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that might make it hard to order online, but
I'll be excited to grab the full family for the larger line, and maybe be a little more selective with the secondary characters. But I feel like I'm all in for these little mini guys. These are just too fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's like it almost reminds me of when the Dollar Tree had a set, but obviously those were only $1. But these are articulated. I think these are good for $5.
I think for the size and the articulation you get, it's fantastic.
It's a good deal. I was almost thinking they should come in mystery balls.
Oh no!
Like start doing like really obscure characters like
don't
Hans
give them any
Moleman.
ideas.
I don't know if I could see it. So be prepared for that because it's like $5.
Crazy.
Put in like, could you put like some other like accessories or something and sell it for 10? Like I don't know how you add to that the value. Very fun, very fun. I didn't get the Burger King figures yet. There's your Deadpool. Have you seen the movie?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. I'm going on Tuesday, hopefully, to see it. I mean, I've heard very little negativity. It seems like they really did a good job, so I'm excited to see it.
Right.
The figures look phenomenal. We saw the 3 figures from Hasbro, Deadpool, Wolverine, and then Logan wearing his civvies with a little bit of a spoiler maybe with those gloves peeking out of the pocket.
Okay. Yeah, I've done my best to stay away from everything, and
yeah, I've been very quick on
It's getting difficult. It's getting
very difficult. Yeah, I've had to scroll past a couple of video clips, like, oh, don't need to know what's going on there.
Right, and like my parents have seen it with my brother, and my mother was like, "Oh, I can't believe they got so and so to be in the movie," and I'm like,
right.
Literally stop. I go stop, and she's like, "You don't know who they play," and I'm like, "Mom, I've known Marvel." I'm like, "Please stop," and my brother's like, "Mom, stop it," and she's like, "Well, they got this guy too," and I'm like, knowing who he would play in the movie, I'm like, "Please stop.
Please,
You're just going to ruin it for me." And she's like, "Well, I've got no idea," and I'm like, "Just stop. Just say the movie was good," and that's
she saw it.
Yeah, she saw it with my brother.
Oh my god. That's so funny. She saw it before you.
Yeah.
Did she like it? She like it?
She said it was fun. She was surprised she saw kids in the theater, and I was like, yeah.
It's a Disney movie. It's a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's a Disney movie. No.
He's a Disney princess now. He's at Disneyland. Have you seen that?
Right.
They got the walk around.
I did. Oh, it's always so great when Disneyland gets to flaunt what they can put on as opposed to what Disney World can get.
Yeah, that's
like right out of the gate
with that Universal licensing deal. That's just it's haunting them forever now.
This little guy here. I mean, obviously a little spoiler because there's
Deadpool.
some kind of baby Deadpool in the movie, but we learned about this popcorn bucket like late, like pretty close to release.
Yeah,
and I
was
last
like, week.
I was like, this is cool. This is cool enough to get me. And I'm not a popcorn bucket guy, and I think I'm actually going to give this to my brother because I'm like, I don't really need it.
Sure.
But the closest Regal to me is 45 minutes away, and I couldn't get in touch with them to see if they had it. So I took the kids. I drove all the way down. I get down there. I get in line. They have a display in the jewelry in the concession case of all the merchandise, and it's not somebody.
Right.
This is there. So I go. I'll take one. I go. You selling the Deadpool popcorn bucket? And they go, yeah, we're selling it. I go. I'll just take one. And the kid goes out back, and he comes back. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're sold out."
Oh, what?
And I'm like, "Well, you're not, because you're gonna sell me that one in the case."
Oh.
And he's like, "Am I?" And I go, "Yeah, you can sell me that." And he's like, "I'll go talk to my manager." So he goes out back again. He goes, "Can you buy the one that's on display?" And it was all still bagged up and everything, like untouched. And the manager's like, "Yeah, I don't care. Get it out of here."
Oh my god!
Like, win for me. Man. Be assertive, everybody. Don't take no for an answer.
You sound like a psychopath.
Right?
It's like, well, kid, guess what? There is one more.
Yeah.
Yeah? Where? You see over there? You see that popcorn bucket right there? You walk your ass over there right now and get that from me. We don't tell anybody about this, okay? That's funny. What a story. You guys start filming your life, man. You get interesting things. There's so much to talk about. We said part 2 coming a little bit later this week. We're going to have Greg Stone with us to break it down. He's a big Mezco guy, so we saved that for him.
Does he like G.I. Joe? Because we didn't talk G.I. Joe.
Ooh, I guess we should talk about that because they had the big HasLab. Yeah, let's talk about that.
They did. We can talk real quick because I think you said that, that Greg liked.
Okay.
G.I. Joe.
Well, very quickly, fully funded, the Rattler.
Yep. The Rattler, the Cobra Rattler.
Coming with stretch goal. The first stretch goal is patches.
Everyone loves a good patch.
Favorite.
Everyone with their flight suits gets patches.
Yeah,
The patches worked so well for the last Ghostbusters HasLab.
That's
they
right.
were like,
I love those.
These guys have flight suits.
Sure.
You know they're going to want patches for their airplane model.
So under 24 hours, fully funded, first tier. There are 3 tiers. First one is patches. Second one is a figure. It's like the gunner. And then the third one is like pilot, lady.
Pilot Baroness.
Pilot Baroness. Yes.
Yes.
And they've already done some nice what's it called, like cupcake photos of her. What's that photography type of? You have no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
There's like I don't know. Pinup, like pinup photography.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
It's called like cupcake or something.
Like boudoir photography. Is it like just like sexy?
Yeah, it's like
sexy
looked
photography.
like they made her like sexy looking.
Okay,
that's what everyone was commenting. I was like, these are toys. Stop what you're doing.
Stop eroticizing my
Cheesecake
toys.
Photography?
Toys are erotic enough.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Gosh,
I want to see what the actual term is.
Wingspan on this thing is 32 inches.
But it folds up.
But 32,
cheesecake photography is what it's called. Cheesecake pinup. I knew it was something.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy. I knew there was some food.
No, I know you're not crazy.
It's delicious. Yeah. It's got a moving joystick. It's got a panel that makes it look like there's damage and it glows. Like there's lights. You can replace it. Lots of fun stuff.
It's got lots of munitions. This will be funded by me by the end of the month.
You got it.
I got to keep it going.
Did you get the cantina?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay. The last we never confirmed that you got it. I don't think
I did.
No Marvel HasLabs in 2025. They announced. They'll do some pre-orders, like some timed pre-orders, but no actual HasLab. And I think that's fine because what else do you do? What other characters could you do? I mean, you're never gonna get that. Never gonna get that. The jet, the Blackbird. We're never gonna get that.
Oh, the Blackbird.
Quinjet. Well, they've always said they could do they could build a figure back in the Toy Biz days. That was rumored. Just never happened.
Build-A-Figures. Everyone's starting to slowly learn their lessons about the Build-A-Figures in Hasbro, where they're just going to release them a couple years back. So they got Venom coming out.
They're not even doing full sets. Everything's 2-packs or something now.
Oh, sure.
They didn't announce one full set of Legends at this Comic-Con.
Oh.
Finally.
They'll hold it off for PulseCon, which is coming still.
September.
Yeah.
We'll see you there. We'll see you seeing us. They really gotta hurry up and contact us. I don't know why they're waiting so long.
I don't know either.
We gotta book our flight. I actually have to go to a wedding in September, so I hope there's no overlap.
Ugh, weddings.
Ugh, I know.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to mention on this episode?
We can end on yick weddings. Yick.
Ugh. Bah. Matrimony. All right, Bill. All right, everybody. Well, you know what we say? We don't want to grow up, but we already did. Have a great week, everybody.
To be continued, everyone. Bye.
I still want